light in the sky, rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire, like a bright shining light. Learn, getting more out of life. Love, sharing time with friends, feeling so strong.
Yes, hello and welcome to the House of Wellness. I'm Luke Darcy and it's brilliant to be joined, as always, by my great friend Joe Stanley and the ever-smiling Luke Hines. Welcome, guys.
Guys, how can I not smile when I'm hanging out with you guys?
Well, it's World Compliment Day, guys. So I'm kicking the show off by telling you how much I value our time together on the couch.
Oh, that's
Thanks,
so
Darth.
nice. So let me join in. Hinesy, I just love your positivity and your food knowledge is so valuable to me. And you know what, Darth? You are such a kind person.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Really
I want to get on this too.
Yeah.
All right. Joe,
Yes?
I find you incredibly calming and grounding every time we come to the House of Wellness. And Joe, we share, and Darth, we share, yeah, you look like Joe. Darth, we share a dressing room.
It's an interesting experience.
Incredibly supportive and really, really calming and giving.
Even when you're singing show tunes with your tops off and hair drying at the same time, that takes...
I'm envious of that. I would love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd wear a top probably, but, you know.
What happens in the dressing room stays in the dressing room.
I hear you both. It's on the agenda today. Hearing Awareness Week kicks off from the 1st of March. Did you know 1 in 6 of us has a problem with our hearing, Joe?
Well, yes, and we're all getting older, Darcy, as you know, we know. So the prediction is that hearing is going to change to 1 in 4 by 2050. And you know, you think about how frustrating that would be to have impaired hearing. You know, the impact on work and social life, not to mention how it messes with your confidence and your self-esteem.
And Joe, obviously age and genetics play a huge part, but it's interesting to note that people acquire hearing loss through preventable means, and the majority of people who could benefit from wearing a hearing aid don't actually even wear one.
Well, that's because they either don't realise their hearing is that bad or they're not aware of what kinds of aids there are available. There's some amazing state-of-the-art products out there, or it's just in the too hard basket to go and get their ears checked, which is why, Das, it was my idea to get us all along to Hearing Australia to take the test.
You've done a lot of radio, Joe, and I do a lot of radio, and you've got headphones on, and I'm finding the volume's getting louder and louder and louder. Is that a good sign?
It's not a good sign. Could be related to age. But I'm concerned because I spent 10 years in my misspent youth actively finding the loudest speaker to dance to at the disco. So I'm worried.
Disco?
And how about you, Hinesy? What do you reckon?
Look, I'm really curious to find out who actually is going to come out on top in this little bit of a challenge between us. What do you reckon? Who do you think's got it in
I'm
the
pretty
bag?
confident. If it's a competition, I now all of a sudden seriously want to... Can you win the hearing test?
No, well, he's the youngest though.
Yeah, there you go.
My money's on you.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go with that.
You've spent so long hearing the roar of the crowd every time you kicked a goal.
There were so many of those moments, Joe, where they were screaming my name out. Probably had an effect, let's be honest with you, on my ego and my hearing. Time to go. We ready?
Let's do it.
Hearing test in its simplest form is a test of your hearing. So what it involves is putting some headphones on and playing a range of different whistles. We'll start with the right ear, Luke. Loud ones and soft ones. Playing different volumes and getting responses from the person.
Oh, gave me a fright, that one.
And then slowly working our way down to actually get below what they can hear, and then increasing to find a threshold of hearing.
Is that button working?
It's working fine. You're doing great.
Press your buzzer.
The most common type of hearing loss you get is where the cochlea and the little hairs in the cochlea start to wear down over time. And in a similar way where you can be near or far-sighted as you're getting older, you can often find that your high frequencies start to get lost. And that's the sort of hearing loss that you get. The little hair cells aren't doing their job, not sending the message through to the brain as effectively. You also get hearing loss due to things like perforated eardrums, ear infections, particularly as children, and even things as simple as a big plug of wax in your ears can actually cause a hearing problem, temporary one as well.
I reckon Darcy is going to be really waxy.
Pop your headphones off. Great work. Thank you so much.
Got a good feeling, Mark, or not?
Oh, look, I can't say. I'm sworn to secrecy.
Probably feel like I'm much better than Hines, though. You just...
I can't say anything.
That's a yes. I've never felt more confident in my life. Hines is kidding himself.
Is Is everything a competition with you two?
Kidding myself. Kidding myself.
I just had no idea.
I'm going to win.
Darcy me in that last.
I gave you a Darcy. I can't believe it.
Great pet hates. I've got a good feeling.
Look, it's a very simple thing
I've got a
to
good
do,
feeling
though.
too, Jo.
Why wouldn't you go along and get tested if you could? Because it's so easy and totally painless.
Yeah, absolutely, especially for waxy.
You reckon my ears are waxy? I think you can get confused with the amount of stuff that you put in your hair.
Oh, well, mate, when you got this much hair, you got to use some wax, eh? You remember that?
But Darcy and I have spent a lot of time in the radio booth, and you do tend to, over the time, turn up the headphones louder and louder. And you think of all those times you've had the Pink Floyd albums cranked up.
Well, it is a bit disturbing when someone else picks up your headphones and goes, well, what is going on?
Yes.
But the results are in. I'm still feeling quietly confident about my superior hearing.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned. We'll give you the results right after the break on the House of Wellness.
Yeah, I've got this, mate. Waxy. Waxy. Darcy is waxy. Oops. Yeah. Oh.
Welcome back. It's Hearing Awareness Week. So my friends here on the couch and I went along to have our hearing tested. Now, it's not a competition or anything, Jo, but I'm still feeling pretty confident that my hearing is better than these two.
But what's that based on?
Just general confidence.
No, but I feel like we need something at stake here. Jo, you don't seem to be too invested in this competition, so I reckon if I win, you owe me breakfast, and if you win, I owe you
Happy to do this, but given that you are a lot younger than myself, it's not going to be
many years. Now, I think we should get to it. I'm chomping at the bit to find out, so let's stop talking and put an end to this finally.
Well, Luke came in, we tested his hearing and we found that his hearing is within the normal range in both ears. There's not a great deal of difference between the ears either. I was quite comfortable and happy, and he was very repeatable and reliable, which is an important one as well. Some people tend to over-respond or even under-respond, but he was quite reliable with his testing. So I tested Luke Darcy's hearing, and again, in a very pleasing way, he came in within the normal range as well. Just a very slight tail away in the high-pitched sounds, but still within the normal range. Nothing at this stage to be worried about. His ears were a little bit waxy, but ultimately he also passed the hearing test today. So I tested Jo's hearing after that, and she again came in within the normal range, which was terrific. And if I had to pick somebody who had the best hearing in one particular ear, Jo's hearing on the left side was the best of all 6 ears that I tested today. The other thing about Jo is that she won the clearest ear competition, probably by a country mile.
So
Well, there you go. All I'm going to say,
I want a
gentlemen,
second opinion.
Yeah.
well, as far as cleaning your ears, don't you tidy up when you know a visitor's coming?
I told you, you can just take one look at Luke Darcy and think waxy the minute you see him.
Told as a kid, the only thing to put in your ears is your elbows. Keep the cotton buds out of there.
Yeah, but there are other ways of cleaning your ears.
How?
Water. Just give it a little swish around in the shower.
Well, it looks like we owe Jo breakfast by the
We do,
sounds
I
of things.
Thank you very much. Well, Hearing Australia is running its Here and Now challenge, which aims to get 20,000 people to take part in free screenings throughout March and April.
Guys, you can do it online by dropping into one of their centres, or find out where and when a Hearing Australia bus will be near you by entering your suburb on their website.
Well, last year the House of Wellness hit Hawaii, where we got some great insights into the health and wellness space over there. And a highlight for me was catching up with my good mates AFL legend Paul Roos and his beautiful wife Tammy at their Hawaiian home. And Tammy joins us once again, this time on home soil. Good to catch up with you again, Tammy.
Thank you. So nice for you to have me.
Thank you for joining us. So good to see you. And a lot of people know Paul as an AFL legend, as I said, but you are really the woman behind the great man. And let's talk about a bit of that. You're a mum to two beautiful boys, best-selling author, teacher of mindfulness. You've got a PhD in meditation, something you've been into for well over 20 years. Can we start there? Why did you first take up meditation?
I actually took it up not really, to be honest, I didn't really know what meditation was, but friends of ours said, you should go try this weekend workshop. It's on meditation. Everyone's talking about it. It's this amazing thing. And that might have been actually really in my favour, because I didn't have any preconceived idea around what it was. So I went off to this workshop. Paul came with me and we learned primordial sound meditation, which was through a facilitation of Deepak Chopra. And yeah, I just kind of never looked back.
Wow. Well, we are huge fans of meditation here. It's absolutely changed my life. Can you tell us what has it done for you?
I think the main thing is, I mean, we're all busy, so everyone's busy. But the main thing for me is it it's kind of like that self-regulation tool that you have that can really bring you back into balance. I know that I meditate first thing every morning. It's my non-negotiable. It's something, again, for the last 21 years. I just feel like I'm so much more aware of my mindset, what's going on, so I actually can go out my front door, you know, doing the best I can do, if that makes sense, because we are all juggling.
Well, Tammy, if anyone's going to get it, it's you. I mean, you run workshops, you've written a book on the stuff.
Yes.
A lot of the time I get asked, how do I do it? You know, you must get that asked all the time. Like, how do you do it? Is it hard? Where do you start?
Yeah, okay, great questions. It's really simple. The number one thing that's hardest for everyone is just committing to the time. You do have to sit and you do have to practice.
Is it about the breathing? Is it about the being?
Breathing is a huge link, and in all of my meditations that I do run, there is a huge emphasis on breath because there's a link. So I really simplified it in my book, and the definition of meditation that I gave was learning to relax the body, quiet the mind. It's a form of relaxation, but it's that mind-body link. So with the breath, the more that you breathe in, just slowly, and as you exhale, you actually feel your body respond. So your awareness is centered internally, okay? So everything relaxes naturally, and it creates that space. So then you become much more orderly. You know what? You know, you prioritize things better. Your energy levels go up. Your sleeping patterns improve. I can go on and on and on.
You've written books about it, Tammy. They say we have 80,000 thoughts a day, and taking that time to sort of slow your nervous system down, to centre yourself, as you say, to start the day has just been life-changing for me as well. And you can actually feel the change in your nervous system as much as anything. For me, a lot of people ask, what's the difference between mindfulness and meditation? How would you answer that?
I get asked this question actually quite a lot, so it is definitely a mainstream, I think, point of discussion at the moment. Meditation for me, because it creates space, as we're discussing here in your day, it allows you to then be mindful, okay, of what is required or needs to be done. So you become more of the observer. So the more you meditate, you create this space, then you can be mindful of what's required in the moment. Like, you know, say you've got you've got a call you have to make and you're feeling stressed. Well, maybe if you're in that space, you know, I need to probably do 3 cycles of breath to relax myself before I make this phone call so that I can bring myself back to my center and I'm relaxed.
So the definition of mindfulness is really the act of noticing.
Yeah, being aware.
And so meditation allows you the skill of being aware.
Absolutely,
Would you say that?
Because it quiets, as Luke was saying, it quiets, when you quiet down the number of thoughts. If you think, people talk about the monkey brain, 80,000 thoughts a day. If you started to count those, that's a lot of thoughts. You quiet that down, create that space, then you have those moments of clear insight and clarity.
What do you think is the link between mindfulness and meditation and mental health?
Look, I actually, number one, I guess I want to say as well, I think that we should really, they should be there synergistic. Do you know what I mean? The more meditation you do, the more mindful you become. And so they work really, really well together. In terms of mental health, though, I mean, all the studies have shown the number one benefit of meditation is to reduce stress and anxiety. So, and it's done naturally. So you don't actually, you know, you don't have to go to a pharmacist and get a prescription. It's a tool. You can use it, you know, 5 minutes. You can do it first thing in the morning, 5 minutes to reset, which I speak a lot about, in midday, and then you could do it again before you go to sleep at night. So it allows you to come back to who you are, so your stress levels decrease and you feel more that you're able, nothing becomes, you know, like nothing becomes too big for you, emotionally less reactive.
Tammy, you're a wealth of knowledge. You happy to stick around? Because we've got a lot more questions to ask you as the show unfolds. Great to have Tammy Roos with us. We are talking and focusing all things on the mind today. And up next, we'll put the all-important issue of men's mental health under the spotlight. That's right here on the House of Wellness.
I find it fascinating, Luke. A lot of things people get scared of. They think. Yeah, no.
Welcome back. One of the big issues we're passionate about getting behind here on the House of Wellness is men's mental health. We're big supporters, as is our regular guest Gus Wallen through his charity Gotcha for Life. And Tammy, you've had a lot of experience in the world of AFL and mental health. Where do you think it is at for full-time men playing sport?
Look, I think that there's been some huge inroads and people like Wayne Schwass and really trying to get with Pucka up the awareness out there. But I think like anything, every one of us, regardless of your job, we're all human. We all have, you know, we're all juggling a lot of different things. And I think the added pressure with social media for the players, with everything being watched, and you've got kids that are 18 coming out of, their high school straight into, arena where they're looked at all the time. It is challenging, but there's some amazing practices being in place now with the clubs and really trying to look at that. But I know from having worked in the Swans and with Melbourne Demons players, it is fundamentally one of the best tools that they can learn to be more resilient and not to let things really start to overwhelm.
Tammy, we've spoken a lot here about how we need to empower our boys and men to speak about the way they're feeling and to know that there's no shame in that.
Yeah.
How do you see it different for women? Are we happy to speak about our feelings and how we're going on the inside, or do you think that's a stereotype?
Yeah, I know that's such a good question, Jo, because I think that sometimes it can be just chit-chat, if that makes sense. It's more surface level. Yes, women do. I think there's been enough studies saying women talk a lot more than men. So that I wouldn't disagree with that. But I think the difference is about what the conversation is about. So if you're willing to have that authentic conversation and to show that vulnerability. And I think that's a skill set that many people shy away from. They are quite, that doesn't make them feel very comfortable. So that's something where I think that we need to go there, to be perfectly honest, if we really want to address this, to actually look at the connection and look people in the face when you're having a conversation, eye contact, but just letting them know that you're there and, hey, how are you going? And if you notice after a while, really they're not responding in a way, you just think, well, no, really, I care, like, what's happening for you, then you can start to change the conversation.
Well, I'm really glad that you say that we have to go there. And in particular, something that I'm really passionate about is trying to break that stigma and stereotype of what it means to be masculine or what it means to be a bloke. Because I feel like with that stereotype, it's hard for men to feel confident to speak up that they're perhaps just not doing that well.
Yeah, and that's such a good point. And I think that that's one of the things that men in particular were really seeing of late are juggling, which is, how do I do this? I was raised in this manner and now I'm being told to just open up, but oh God, that's scary and terrifying. How do we do that? So I think it's pretty empowering having a lot of these groups and conversations happening where you're acknowledging, emotions are real for men or women. And I remember one of my favourite quotes of all time is, the single greatest cause of human suffering is the denial of our emotions. Wow. And it is one of my favourite quotes because it's true. We're human beings and life is life. It's messy and it's good, but it's highs and lows. Yeah,
it's a great line, Tammy, and I think hopefully times are changing. It feels like they are, particularly around males and opening up and being more vulnerable, as you said. And one of the best when it comes to using mateship to tackle issues like loneliness and depression is a group called Men's Shed, which offers real hands-on help. If you pay a visit to your local Men's Shed, you'll find blokes tinkering away on all sorts of stuff. A bit of maintenance, some personal projects, even some upskilling. But the sturdiest thing Rod Jackson has built is a rock-solid support network.
Back in 2010, I got laid off from work and I was sitting at home alone. My wife was working full-time, still does. My daughter was at school and my son was working as well. And I spiralled into this black hole. I did self-harm and tried to do worse than just self-harm. I had the police turn up as well as an ambulance, and I was taken to hospital. We've then moved to Sunbury, and I've got laid off from a job again. So I wouldn't go down the same tunnel as what I did before. My wife Jenny has gone, find the men's shed. Nice timber. So I did. Came down here. Within an hour, they opened their arms and brought me in. It gave me a sense of purpose to get up in the morning and do things.
Within weeks, Rod became a dedicated member of the Hume Men's Shed. But it wasn't just the woodwork that kept him coming back.
I enjoy coming down to this shed. I do little projects every so often for myself, but the best thing I find is talking to everybody. I'm really pleased that he's doing okay because I was worried about him the day I was speaking to him on the phone.
Yeah?
When I was younger, growing up, guys never talked. And I found talking to a bloke next to you is worth more to me than winning Tats Lotto. If I'm down, someone will know when I'm down here. He'll come over to me mate Gary the other week when I had a bit of a problem. He says, "You're not well." He knew. He came straight up to me. "Do you want to talk about it?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to talk about it." By the time I finished talking, we'd gone off the subject of my mental health onto other stuff. I walked out of here like a new day. It pulls people together, this place.
They can't argue with me, I've got the knife.
Rod's mates couldn't agree more. This shed has become a sanctuary in their darkest moments.
Men are very bad communicators, not like women. You know? They have this sort of isolation when they leave work. Most of their comrades are at work, so now they've got a place to come to and talk.
And it's so nice to be like a family, you know? Like a family. We all have each other's number, we call each other anytime, you know?
To come down and talk to the diversity of people that have been in other jobs, teachers and pilots and tradies, you know, be they plumbers, electricians, carpenters, a whole lot. So interesting.
I can talk to others and listen. My wife calls me Mr. Have a Chat.
There are almost 1,000 men's sheds spread across Australia, and Rod encourages all blokes to pick up a toolkit, drop by and have a chat.
You've just got to make the first step. But when you make that first step is actually better than anything else. These guys here have made me laugh again. They've made me cry again. They've made me who I am. Right? You can take it home to the boss?
Hey?
You going to take it home to the boss?
No, she's got one already.
Has she?
What a brilliant program. It seems simple, doesn't it? But just getting guys together, communicating, not the easiest thing, Joe, but saving lives and brings a smile to your face. Still to come, one of my least favourite topics, snakes. I hate snakes and spiders. They do have their benefits, though, apparently. And our House of Wellness resident medicos put the squeeze on blood pressure right after the break on the House of Wellness.
We've got a snake out of the snake ready for this thing, actually. Yeah, 80 rock. Wow. Pretty loose. Fascinating.
Welcome back. Last week we welcomed two medical maestros to the show who are keeping it all in the family, Dr Nick Carr and his daughter Isabella Carr. They might be a generation apart, but they're united in their passion for medicine.
Hi and welcome to Medicine Past, Present and Future. My name's Dr Nick and I'm the past.
My name's Dr Isabel and I'm the future.
And together,
we're the present.
Today we're going to talk about something which happens pretty much every time you go to a doctor or to the hospital, where they wrap that thing around the arm and they pump it up and it squeezes and yeah, what are they doing that for? A thing called blood pressure. There are a few people who have a reason for having high blood pressure. They might have underlying kidney disease or something like that. But funnily enough, the most common cause of blood pressure is unknown. We call it essential hypertension.
That's a pretty strange word, essential hypertension.
Yeah, sounds like you have to have it, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Essential. It's just one of these weird medical terms that we use. But what it means is we don't really understand why people have high blood pressure. What we do understand, though, is that it matters. Because you're going to tell me, Dr. Isabel, what does having high blood pressure do to you?
It can cause all sorts of harm. When we think about it in a medical term, we think about the harm that it can cause to different organs. And so the harm it can cause to things like your kidneys, to your brain, and also the harm it can cause to the other parts of your body, so the ends of your body as well, so your fingers.
That's a very, very long way of saying heart attack and stroke. They're the big risks, aren't they?
Yeah.
And that's what we try to prevent. We really don't want people dying of heart attacks and stroke. And everyone knows that you can take pills for blood pressure. That's almost the easy bit. But I actually want to talk a little bit about the lifestyle things that people can do. So now I'm going to throw to you, Dr. Isabel. What can you do to deal with your blood pressure without taking pills?
Exercise, substances like alcohol, and diet. And those are kind of the three main things that we think about when we think about blood pressure.
I think this is really important because when people have high blood pressure, I go on and on and on. I'm really boring. I do go on about substance. So alcohol, far too much alcohol drunk out there pushes blood pressure up, caffeine, that sort of thing, and illegal drugs can do it too. So quite right, substance is a big one. Exercise fixes just about everything. Really, really good for blood pressure and keeping weight under control. What about salt?
Why are you asking me? You're the general practitioner. Why don't you tell me about salt?
I love this question because there was a friend of mine many years ago who was given a huge amount of money to research salt because everyone said salt puts up your blood pressure. So he did a 2-year study and at the end of that £2 million, salt might have an impact. So we know that too much salt pushes blood pressure up, but it's been said that to reduce your blood pressure, you have to take so much salt out of your diet. It doesn't make you live longer, it just makes it seem longer, because the diet's so horrible. Thank you, Dr. Isabel.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nick.
That was interesting, Heinzie, about salt. What did you make of that?
Well, mate, it's interesting to note that not all salt is created equal. So there's that table salt, which is highly processed and refined, but we should be celebrating salt like rock salt and pure sea salt because it's packed with minerals, including magnesium, which is epic for our health.
Thank you for that. Our father-daughter Dr. Team proving once again exercise and a healthy diet is a remedy for almost everything. Joe, that makes sense?
Oh, absolutely. Nothing makes me happier than going for a run. I feel amazing always afterwards. And, of course, I love eating well. So tell me, Tammy, how are your chefing skills? Do you have a meal that the whole family absolutely loves?
No, it's actually quite challenging. I'm going to be really honest here. That's a hard one because I've had picky eaters and I'm vegetarian and the boys, so we have this mixture. So it's actually challenging, but a barbecue that's always probably my safe option because I can do barbecue, you can do your veggies or fish or chicken, and you can then find something that works for everyone.
Yeah.
The chat potatoes with the sea salt and rosemary seems to be a big favourite.
I was going to say though, being vegetarian, do you find that influences, I guess, the rest of the family's eating habits? Do they kind of go, oh, I might have more plant-based foods these days?
I've actually started to. Seriously, it's starting to happen. It's taken some time, but it's evolving, and I think that there's also a lot more awareness now about the idea of eating foods that actually have the nutrients that are alive, that you actually can feel and go, wow, I feel really good and light in your being, rather than something that has no nutritional value.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Heinzie, this leads me to you, right? There's always a new superfood or herb popping up, and I've heard a lot lately about hemp.
Yes.
So it's super trendy, which, I'm on trend whenever I can be. So I'm yet to try it though.
Well, it's really good. The interesting thing about hemp, Joe, is that it's found in all these unique forms. You can get it in seeds, oil, it's powder, and even in capsule form, which makes it really versatile for people going plant-based, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Well, I see also that the ACT has just become the first Australian jurisdiction to legalise the use and growth of cannabis. So hemp for everyone
Well,
up
there you go, guys. If you need me, I'll be in the ACT living my best life. But whatever your stance on the changing the laws, science has proven that eating hemp seeds is incredibly nutritious, rich in healthy fats, protein and various minerals, which is enough for me to give it a go. GQ, I love mushrooms. I'm pretty much obsessed with them. Not only are they really, really versatile, but I reckon they deserve their own food group status because they contain a unique strain of bacteria that promote good gut health.
I like mushrooms because their fragrance reminds me of growing up in the bush, where you could actually borrow some from someone's field if you were careful, take them home and cook them.
As much as I love your trip down memory lane, GQ, another ingredient that goes really, really well with mushrooms is actually hemp, and it is so, so good for you.
Well, this has been around since the 13th century, Heinzie, so there's nothing mysterious about hemp oil, and now recognised as a great source of essential acids, essential fatty acids, omega-3, 6 and 9. Interestingly, it's related to cannabis, but without the psychoactives in the plant.
All right, so you mentioned omegas. Now, there's 3, 6 and 9, but 3 is the one that we should really be focusing on for optimal health. Is that right?
It's the most common one, Heinzie, and that's where we need it for all the benefits that these essential, meaning we can't make them, we need them to live, essential fatty acids that we need to eat most days.
So if we can't make them, we should be getting them from food, so things like fatty fish, but some people are allergic to seafood, or they're vegan and vegetarian. So hemp seeds, hemp oil is a good way to go?
A perfect way to go for anyone that's allergic to those sorts of things. What we also bring with hemp is offsetting dryness, Heinzie. So dry hair, dry skin, dry mouth, dry joints, which often manifest themselves as arthritis.
Mate, it sounds like there's not too many people that hemp oil doesn't help. Is that right?
It's ideal, and I think the sooner we get these in the oven, the better.
All right, I'm just going to blitz this. I got to say, mate, that is looking so good.
It looks magnificent. What else can we use hemp oil for?
Well, look, if you don't have time to make mushrooms like this, you can just put some hemp oil or hemp seeds in your smoothie, blitz it up, and you're good to go. All right, let's get these in the oven. The A to Z of Vitamins is brought to you by Go Healthy, the superior supplement for healthy energy and vitality. Try New Zealand's #1 premium supplement, now available in Australia.
Already learning a lot out of today's show, Joe. Salt, hemp, but coming up, one of my least favourite topics, that's snakes and spiders. I'm not spiders. You're not a big fan of snakes.
I wasn't, no.
I need to find out how that changed for you. You might be able to help me. I hate them, but they're good apparently for something. We'll find out what. That's coming up next on the House of Wellness.
I tell you what, I'm going to go get the snake now. Literally everywhere.
Welcome back. One of the biggest fears for many people is snakes and spiders, and by that I mean me, particularly snakes. Tammy, what's your reaction if you see like a giant huntsman in your house?
No, I'm actually okay with the spiders. It doesn't bother me, and to be honest, Paul and I try to get it out. I can't hurt it, so I try to get it out of the house without doing anything.
I'm with you on spiders. You've got to relocate them back outside.
I think if
no
it's a
problems.
snake,
Different story with the snakes.
I'd just be trying to get out of the room.
What about you, Joe? Spiders?
I'm okay with spiders. They're very important in the ecosystem, and I really dislike mosquitoes. So if the spiders mean we have no mozzies, great.
Well, I want you to hold that thought. You're saying you're okay with the spiders. How about these for some urban myths? That apparently across the time of a year we eat about 8 spiders in our sleep.
Yeah. No.
That they drink from our mouths at night. Wait, and if we've got an open wound or a sore, that they nestle in there and nest for their babies.
No, that's not true.
No, Joe, it's
that
true.
That is not
I saw it on the internet. It must be. I mean,
that's right.
But look, after I checked out the facts on all things anti-venom, I felt a whole lot better. Aussies are used to sharing their backyards with things that slither and crawl, but a bite from the wrong kind can be potentially lethal.
The Australian environment is really quite unique. We have some of the most venomous creatures.
With over 170 species of land snakes, some equipped with venom more toxic than any other snakes in the world, it's people like Lisa Lamb from Securus who create anti-venom with the potential to save a life.
There is no other manufacturer globally that manufactures the same antivenoms as we do. So it's really important that these antivenoms are available for the Australian public.
Making antivenom starts with venom, and that means having access to plenty of the snakes and spiders we'd all rather avoid.
The Australian Reptile Park we're working very closely with at the moment. We have a funnel web spider breeding program that they're pulling together for us, and that's to increase the amount of venom that we can collect of funnel web spiders. And this will allow the Australian Reptile Park to actually provide us with more venom to help us provide increased supplies of funnel web spider antivenom to market.
Where do the horses come in, you ask? Well, if snakes and spiders are the villains of the story, horses are the heroes. They're integral to the whole process.
The horses receive very small quantities of the venom. The horses then make their antibodies to the venom, and we collect those antibodies in the plasma.
The collection process is similar to a plasma donation for humans, where the red blood cells are separated out and given back to the horse. The valuable stuff, the antibodies, are then treated, purified and sent to hospitals all around the country.
There's no venom in an antivenom vial. The venom is used to trigger the immune response in the horse. So it's the antibodies that the horse create, which is the really important active component that goes into the antivenom.
So if somebody does get bitten by a snake, either at home or out in the bush, firstly they should be seeking help as soon as possible, whether that's coming to a hospital straight or calling an ambulance.
After the antivenoms are created, it's up to medical professionals like Dr. Jonathan Dowling to administer them.
First aid for snake bites is very important, and that consists of a firm compression bandage of the affected limb, the entire limb, so either the entire arm or the entire leg, similar firmness to what we would use for an ankle sprain, and then immobilise the limb. That slows down the spread of the venom into the system and gives us more time to actually treat patients. Snake venom actually travels via the lymphatics, and which is why the compression bandage as first aid substantially slows down the onset of the envenomation syndrome for patients.
Given the environment we live in, knowing how to recognise the early symptoms on snake and spider bites are crucial.
Securus has developed a Bites and Stings app, which is really useful. It's an app that really covers off first aid for envenomation. And it also has a lot of information about the different types of venomous creatures that you might encounter if you're out and about, where they're located, and signs and symptoms that you might experience.
Bites in Australia are quite rare, and there are even fewer deaths, especially since the development of anti-venom. But if you are that 1 in a million, here's the tip from the man who knows.
Patients who try and catch snakes usually end up getting bitten more than once and have a more significant envenomation pattern by the time they present to hospital. If you see a snake, don't handle it yourself. Please get a professional snake handler to come and catch the snake and remove it from your property.
There you go. Beautiful.
Twitching on the couch, watching that the whole time.
Are
That's
you
enough
okay?
to make your hair turn grey, Joe.
Well, it is for you particularly. I'm not suggesting you have grey hair. That's really... Anyway, grey is the new black when it comes to hair trends, Das. Men have been called silver foxes for years, and now more and more women are embracing the salt and pepper look, which I love. However, if you do want to get back to black or brown or blonde or bronze, there is a quick solution.
Gotta be honest, I'm a very low maintenance girl when it comes to hair. When I get up in the morning, I just throw it up.
Yep.
And if I come across a couple of greys, I'm not gonna go to the salon for that because it takes too long. It's like 3 hours and you're covering up a couple of hairs.
Okay, so I used to use an eyeshadow. No. I used to use a medium brown eyeshadow.
And they
but
worked?
I'd put it through. I'd see my mum doing it. Obviously, it's just me. All the time from clients, I'm constantly hearing going into the hairdressers takes too long. You're in there for 3 hours. It's costing around $300 plus. You're needing your hair retouched, re-dyed within 5 weeks. And I think it's just finding that product that can tie you over. I don't know if you've got any greys, but I have a lot.
I've sprouted, I've picked out a few, but I notice every time I pick out one, about 3 more come.
They do. So this is magic. It will be your best friend. My personal favourite, and the one that's in my bathroom at the moment, is the L'Oreal Magic Retouch. They don't call it magic for nothing, and personally, I use the shade light brown. So right now, you can see some of the greys here. We're in between salon visits. We want this colour to tie us over to our next one. So what you would do, it's really simple. You just hold it around 10 to 15 centimetres and lightly spray. And as you can see,
oh my God,
instantly, it's magic.
You're an expert. Can your average Joanna
blog,
Joe blog? Can everyone do it?
Anyone. It literally is like a hairspray.
Kind of looks like a dry shampoo. Does it have the same
Yeah,
sort of
it's the same
effect?
kind. So you don't actually have to apply dry shampoo over it because it's already got that kind of texture in it.
Is this for eyebrows to darken? or?
Not quite. It's actually for those hairs near your ears on the side that are really
baby
hard to
hairs?
get. The baby ones.
Okay.
So it's got a great, yep. She's
How's
got the
that?
idea. She's
How's
doing
that?
it. Or if you've got a tight pony that you're wearing and these little ones that come down, I often get these personally. You just go in like this. And this is just a quick, popping a wave in. I think as well, straight ends are in. You don't want the bottom of your hair to be curled. And no more greys, and you're ready to go.
Welcome back to the House of Wellness. Now, if you think holding a 4-minute plank is impressive, Joe, how about this? A Canadian yoga teacher has just set the record for the longest plank held by a female, which was 4 hours, 19 minutes and 55 seconds.
Wow.
Now, Das,
defies logic.
we didn't get to nail our hearing test today. We didn't really have a winner. So maybe we should have a plank off
Really?
and see who can plank the longest.
Okay, are you confident?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a few episodes.
Oh my gosh.
You've got 4 hours?
4 hours. I would, it's hard, but also how boring. Seriously. Bring me a drink.
Yeah.
Here's some other news in the health and wellness space. Did you know that Mattel have just released their new Barbie? It is the Wellness Barbie. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Everything's feeling off balance and I really need to focus, so I was hoping that maybe you could help me by joining in on a guided meditation.
Oh, she's got it all going on.
Oh.
She's got a face mask, she has fizzy bath bombs, she does mindfulness and meditation. I don't know, is this sending the right message to the next generation of girls, Tammy? Is that what health and wellness is? Active leisure wear?
Active leisure wear. Look, I think anything, again, without trying to box things up, anything that's going to actually maybe educate that this is something that can empower you and is beneficial, then that's a good thing. So if it is about exercise, mindfulness, eating, I'm not really, definitely.
Bath bombs, sure.
Bath bombs. Look after your skin.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the time they bring out CEO Barbie.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Prime Minister Barbie.
Yes.
Could we have that at some point, I wonder?
Well, lots, as always, on today's show. And for another great fix of health and wellbeing, head to our website, houseofwellness.com.au, and don't forget to tune into the House of Wellness radio show every Sunday, featuring our own Joe Stanley.
Whoa, loving the show.
Yes.
Great stuff. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Tammy Ruse. Brilliant to have you on the House of Wellness.
Thank you.
And to our good friends at Chemist Warehouse. We'll see you next time. Oh, thanks, Tammy.
Thank you. That was great. Nice to meet you. Oh, that's hilarious.
I know.
Wellness Barbie.
Like fizzy bar.